At first, I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, it must be inside.
She says her triathlon bike was stolen, one she's been training on for the upcoming Ironman World Championships later this year.
Mark Carney's hiring his buddies. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we've got a story that came out a couple days ago, but we're getting more details. Mark Carney hired his buddy, and his buddy is getting paid almost twice as much as him being prime minister. We've also have a liberal who nobody knows what she does, and she won't release the information of how much she gets paid, what her duties are. Has she been involved in any meetings? It's become very suspicious. We got a bunch of other stuff here. Let's jump into this. Got this one here. Lululemon founder fined by Elections Canada for signs saying NDP is communist. What happened to free speech? He had a big billboard on his yard saying this. It's this one here. EB will tell you the Conservatives are far right, but neglects saying that the NDP is communist. I guess freedom of speech is just a myth in Canada. Got Kirk posting this. The Canadian dollar not looking so good. Says reality starting to set in on the Canadian dollar. $100 billion deficit backed by nothing except tax slavery with a shrinking economy isn't sustainable. This is not good. We're down to 0.71. Will this continue to nosedive? I mean, this is just over the past month. This will cause another round of capital flight to US markets. Yep, people aren't going to invest in Canada because, well, it's just not a good place to invest. What really needs to happen is the Liberals need to cut taxes, and they need to cut them big time and stop spending money on all this ridiculous stuff. Cut a whole bunch of stuff and get this inflation down and get life livable again. But once again, all they're doing is they're going to put in things, they're going to buy things, they're going to spend money in ways that will pump up stocks, enrich themselves. Mark Carney's got a whole list of them. Apparently, it's not against the law for him to promote certain projects like the Red Chris mine while he's invested in it so he can get rich off of it. Our country's a joke. Next up, we've got quite the bombshell news here. So we've already know this guy's been hired by Mark Carney, his buddy from Goldman Sachs. This is Doug Guzman. But what we're finding out here is his salary, $679,000. This is preposterous. As Prime Minister Mark Carney's candidate to oversee defense contracting is now cabinet's highest paid appointee. Figures show $610,100. Why is it extra $100 a year? Salary for the Toronto banker Doug Guzman, a former associate of Carney's, is twice the finance minister's pay. Twice. This guy makes 1.5 times the pay of the prime minister. This is ridiculous. There needs to be a cap on this. These guys shouldn't be making more than the prime minister. What a waste of Canadian tax dollars. So it goes in to show some examples here. Is near $700,000. We'll just call it $700,000 compared to other appointees here, include Comptroller General, nearly $300,000, Finance Minister, $300,000, Deputy Minister of Finance, $420,000, Clerk of the Privy Council, another one of Carney's buddies, $420,000, Business Development Bank President, $458,000, Bank of Canada Governor, $544,000, CEO of Export Development Canada, $550,000, CEO of CBC, $562,000. Catherine Tate, these salaries are out of control. No one in the government deserves this amount of money, especially the guy who's not in charge. Well, the prime minister should be at the top, just logically speaking.
You have recently announced a new defense investment agency and appointed a new CEO to it, and have also appointed a CEO to the new major projects office. Their salaries are significantly higher than yours or your fellow cabinet ministers. So at a time when you're trying to pare back on public sector operational spending, how do you justify private sector CEO pay?
This guy's body language, I just can't help it. You look at his mouth, he wants to crack a smile. His eyes are flicking around. He's moving around. He's having a hard time keeping it in because his buddy here is getting paid nearly $700,000 thanks to him.
These are, in the case of the specific individuals, I think you'll find that their pay when they were private sector CEOs was substantially higher than the pay ranges that they have. So first point, we'll stop. Secondly, their pay is also consistent with the band of what's called within the public service, Crown Corporation CEO 8 level band. So that's consistent with that band. There are other CEOs.
Who cares about that? This guy talks about Crown Corporation CEOs. The prime minister is the top job. Why are you paying other people more than the top job?
In Crown corporations who receive pay within those band. And the responsibilities of these individuals are enormous. The Defense Investment Agency, we are addressing procurement decisions, investment decisions measured in the tens of billions of dollars. Getting those decisions right both in terms of meeting our defense needs as a country, protecting our country and our communities, but also growing our industry, growing good jobs for Canadians.
So you're telling me that the Defense Investment Agency is a more important job than Prime Minister of Canada. Not only that, it's almost twice as more valuable than Prime Minister. This guy makes around $409,000, somewhere around there, and his banker buddy from RBC is going to make nearly $700,000. You're telling me that position is more important than yours, and you're the Prime Minister in control of everything. This is a load of crap.
You know, as the mayor knows, as Yasser knows, I know, we're in the Greg knows, in the Ottawa region, in the Outaouais. One of the opportunities we have here is to grow our defense and defense-related industries on orders of magnitude. Now, that takes cooperation with the city, including the city of Gatineau.
So he's just going on a ramble here. Let's look at his body language again.
I have also appointed a CEO to the new Major Projects Office.
Little nervous there, Carney, hitting the microphone?
Their salaries are significantly higher than yours or your fellow cabinet ministers. So at a time when you're trying...
Do you see that one too? What's this little face going on here? Uh-oh, somebody found me out. You can read this guy's face like a book. That's the, oh shucks, I didn't think you guys were going to look into this.
How do you justify private sector CEO?
Look at that smile right there. You see that? We'll go frame by frame. Look at this cheeky little smile. He just couldn't contain himself. Back and forth, back and forth. There's that cheeky little smile. He couldn't help it. Yeah, his good buddy Doug Guzman gonna get $700,000. Next up, we've got quite the interesting story here. It is a bizarre one. MP won't discuss her duties. Liberal MP Stephanie McLean, Secretary of State for Seniors yesterday, would not say how many cabinet meetings she's attended since her appointment last May. She gets questioned in the Senate, which we're going to take a look at, because what is she hiding here?
Secretary McLean, the Senate's current sessional order states that it is to be ministers who are invited to these question periods. Yet the Prime Minister's office website plainly states that secretaries of state, quote, are not members of cabinet. And after all, this is ministerial question period, not secretarial question period. But I'll ask you the questions that the Carney government Senate leader could not answer for me in June. Do you have your own department and departmental budget? What is your salary? What is your office budget? And do you have a car and driver?
Madam Secretary. I believe this question is not within my portfolio. I think that the question needs to be directed to finance, who's responsible for budgets, et cetera, or the Prime Minister's office that's responsible for appointments. And I'm pleased to have received an invite, even if your rules say that I'm not to be invited. So thank you.
Senator Batters. You are a Secretary of State. I'm asking about your position. The government Senate leader could not answer questions about it, so that's why I'm asking you about your own things. If you do have a department, I want to also know, does your department's deputy minister report to you or to a minister? And Secretary McLean, your seniors portfolio used to be a full ministry, but it has now been downgraded by the Carney government to a Secretary of State. That does not say much for the priority your government places on the seniors who built our country. How many full cabinet meetings have you attended since you were appointed to this position in May?
Madam Secretary. Thank you. Again, the determinations of how cabinet is arranged are within the portfolio of the Prime Minister's office, so I will direct you there. With respect to the portfolio of seniors, I think that by having a Secretary of State for Seniors, the Prime Minister has shown leadership and dedication to ensuring that seniors have their perspective represented throughout government decision-making, particularly at a time where a agile, small cabinet is needed for really important economic decision-making, given the times that we find ourselves in the global
Like $100 billion deficit?
Economic context. Thank you.
She didn't answer the question. She probably hasn't been to a single meeting. Just another crumb snatcher, sucking up Canadian tax dollars and offering nothing in return. This is actually infuriating. I can't believe we tolerate this in Canada. Yeah, answer the question or you go to jail for a week and it's a $10,000 fine. This should be the new rule. They all must take a course in evasiveness. Poor people. Thanks for trying, Senator Batters. More evidence that Canada is failing. Isn't this public open information? Apparently not. So this article does go on to say here that secretaries of state were awarded $74,700 annual bonus in addition to their $209,000 MP salary. Record shows cabinet ministers are paid $99,000 bonus. In addition to 30% of Liberal backbenchers, a total of 39 MPs were appointed part-time parliamentary secretaries at a $20,000 a year bonus. This is ridiculous. These guys make way too much money. Meanwhile, another storyline that we've got here is the Bloc Québécois once again threatening to separate. They mentioned this in the House of Commons that Carney needs to watch out. They're already talking about it. Listen to this.
Can you repeat on the bill that was just tabled in Quebec, on a Quebec constitution? Can you repeat in English what your reaction is to that?
Oh, in English, it would be much shorter than in French. If the National Assembly of Quebec, l'Assemblée nationale du Québec, which is the only voice of the Quebec nation, as a nation, wants to have discussions about a constitution, it's none of Canada's business.
So first off, Quebec isn't a nation, and if Quebec doesn't want to talk about or share what they're talking about in their assembly, maybe they shouldn't be getting Alberta's dirty oil money. These guys like having it both ways. They cry foul about climate change and green energy and this, that, and the other, but they love getting Alberta's dirty oil money. The hypocrisy just never changes with these guys. Quebec's independent shtick is well past its best before date. Same with, I've heard this my entire life, nothing has gotten better. Money keeps pouring into the very people who want to rip Canada apart. Next up, we got Doug Ford running his mouth again about the stumbling juice. This guy doesn't get it. First it was Crown Royal, now Smirnoff.
Who in their right mind, any business person with half a brain, would go after their largest customer in North America? Diageo, we do over $765 million, more than any jurisdiction anywhere in the US or in Canada. And they want to close down a plant over what, $8 million of wages they think they're going to save?
Who in their right mind would vote for the Liberal Party of Canada and not support the Conservatives during the last election, Doug? Who did you vote for? I don't think it's Pierre Poilievre. Not to mention, why isn't this guy calling out Brookfield Asset Management and Mark Carney? Carney moved the headquarters from Toronto to New York. Why are you not calling them out?
The LCBO is the largest purchaser of alcohol in the entire world. And I'll use that leverage to make sure we send a signal that we are pulling Crown Royal off our shelves as soon as the last person leaves that plant, and they can deal with it. And then we'll look at Smirnoff's next, because we have great whiskey that other people can produce in Ontario, and they'll enjoy just as much as Crown Royal.
This guy's attacking individual businesses. This should be against the law, what he's doing here. Not only that, Crown Royal is made in Manitoba. How many times do we have to say it? Crown Royal is made in Manitoba. The bigger parent company is not located in Canada. They're over in Europe somewhere. The product that he is attacking is Canadian. What is this idiot doing?
That's what happens when you try to undermine the people of Ontario. These large corporations are going to be held accountable. It's as simple as that.
What's next? You're going to attack Home Depot because their headquarters are in America? This guy is unbelievable. As this guy says here, we are adults, we can make decisions for ourselves. Exactly. If Canadians don't want to buy a Canadian product, then they can choose that. But this guy's trying to destroy a product made in Canada, in Manitoba, and that's going to hurt the livelihoods of Canadians. What is he doing? Crown Royal is made in Manitoba. Yeah. Good thing Crown Royal is Canadian, but moron will moron. Let's check out the LCBO. China. What do they have from China? Old Dougie here has no problem with Yantai Gungyang from China. This is a Chinese product. No problem with National Cellar 1573 Spirit of China Edition. No complaints there. No complaints with Fenchu, another Chinese product. No complaints with Xinjiu Gold, another Chinese product. This guy is a disgrace. Now, to mix up the different kind of crime we have in Canada, we've got an Ironman Canada winner has her bike stolen right out of the back of her car.
She faced a setback she never trained for.
At first, I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, it must be inside. It must be somewhere else. Like, oh, like, there's no way it's actually, like, gone.
She says her triathlon bike was stolen on Sunday while she was out for a run. The same bike that carried her across the finish line and the one she's been training on for the upcoming Ironman World Championships later this year.
It has actually quite a bit of sentimental value. I bought it from someone that was a Paralympian, a Canadian Paralympian. So he used that bike to kind of get to a point where he was able to pursue the next level. And that's kind of why I bought the bike as well.
She says she left her bike locked in the trunk a couple kilometers from here in Gatineau Park, where she trains. But when she returned a couple hours later, it was gone.
Someone had gone through all my stuff. There's stuff everywhere. Like, I had all of my training gear in the car. My wetsuit was on the ground beside the car.
And replacing it won't be easy.
They normally start at around $5,000 and they can go up as much as over $20,000.
Patrick Lacroix is the co-owner of this Gatineau bike shop. He says thefts like this aren't rare. In fact, he hears of high-end bikes being stolen nearly every week.
This time of year, inventory is kind of low. They don't manufacture that much volume of those categories of bikes, so they are very attractive on the reselling platforms, on the marketplaces online.
As for Heiskanen, she's offering a $500 reward, hoping the same bike that carried her to victory will find its way back.
Bought this bike with the bike that was stolen with my own money, so
this is just disgraceful. The Liberal-supported gangsters are ruining lives from everyday Canadians to Ironman winners here. Like, when is this going to end? Thief was probably out on bail too. Probably was. Canada in a nutshell. That's what this is. So next up, we got the story here. Donald Trump didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, but there's a bit of a twist here. So the woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize is the opposition leader from Venezuela, who's been getting battered down by the government. They're trying to take her out.
The Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded this morning to an opposition activist who's been living in hiding in Venezuela.
Maria Machado has been a unifying leader of the opposition in Venezuela, and what they did in the election of 2024 was incredible, and it gives hope to an entire country.
Maria Corina Machado has been recognized for, quote, keeping the flame of democracy burning amidst a growing darkness and ever-expanding authoritarianism in Venezuela. She has been living in hiding after attempting to run against President Nicolas Maduro. She was blocked from running, expelled from office in 2014. The Norwegian Nobel Committee says she now faces serious threats against her life. The committee added that democracy depends on people who refuse to stay silent.
Bunch of the left instantly posting this, trying to mock Donald Trump, saying he didn't win it, ha ha ha, all this kind of stuff. And that blew up in their face as Maria posted this on her X account. This recognition of the struggle of all Venezuelans is a boost to conclude our task to conquer freedom. We are on the threshold of victory, and today, more than ever, we count on President Trump, the people of the United States, the peoples of Latin America, and the democratic nations of the world as our principal allies to achieve freedom and democracy. I dedicate this prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause. She dedicated the award to him, so now the leftists, well, they're having a meltdown.